Look at that.
Hello everyone. I just need to check that everybody can hear us. So when somebody comes on live or sees us first, if you can just say hi and you can hear the sound, because we've got one of these funky mics. So we're going to try it. So yeah. And we've actually got Tony in the office with us. So yes, and Caroline's been with us all week.
Yes, sadly I'm leaving today.
How's your week been in the office?
Oh, I have learnt so much, had loads of fun, and my brain is bursting with new stuff. It's been a really exciting week. So thank you.
And you know what Control C and Control V do now?
Yeah, I've written it down in my book.
And Alt-Tab. Hey Jude, can you hear us okay, Jude? If you can just say yes, you can hear us, that'll be wonderful. So we know that you can hear us. I don't know if there's a bit of a delay with Facebook and stuff like that.
She might have said she couldn't hear us.
Possibly. Well, okay.
By the way, we're all leaning forward. If you've got really bad eyesight, the microphone is here. All right.
Yes. Okay. I assume that you guys can hear me. If one of you can say you can hear me, that would be fabulous. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
That's brilliant. So, where's Gus?
Gus is here.
Okay, I'm going to lift this up.
Oh my, lift Gus up. Dear Gus. Bit of a hefty lift there. Hi, gorgeous.
This is Gus. How old's Gus now?
9.
So Gus is 9. And unfortunately, he got cancer 3 years
ago. He got a very aggressive tumour and was only given several months to live.
Yeah.
And he was operated on twice. Went through chemotherapy, and chemotherapy lasted 8 weeks. And went back after that several times, and he went straight on to raw food at that point. That's when the whole thing started for us.
Yeah.
And Gussie Boy's still with us today.
And he's looked phenomenal. So I thought it was good because Tony was coming in, didn't tell me we were going to do a live because he loves being on camera. Stop him being on the camera. Say, let me on the camera.
Well, the focus is now on Gus, not Tony. So yeah, he's pretty happier down there. Bless him.
So Gus is part of the reason we got involved in Bella+Duke. And if you know our story that Tony and I had 4 dogs. There's Alfie.
Gorgeous Alfie.
Alfie can get lifted up.
And 3 of them all got cancer, all under the age of 10, which is our journey into the raw feeding. That's part of the reason, the main reason we set up Bella+Duke, really on a mission to save as many cats and dogs off by getting them off processed food. And I know that obviously we have lots of questions, a lot of people skeptical about raw feeding, and rightly so, because the marketing power is out there to have lots and lots of money to spend on misinformation and all the rest of it. I guess Gus, that's the proof in the pudding there, where I see Gus, looking amazingly well. He was on raw food right through the whole chemotherapy, everything. He's been on it for 3 years now. And previously, like my dogs, we were feeding kibble.
We were. I think about Gus being 3 years in remission. In human years, that's equal to 21 years after very, very aggressive cancer. Been given 2 or 3 months life expectancy.
Amazing. And where was his cancer? What did you have? He had a lump.
Yeah, a big lump in his chest, and we only noticed it because it was seeping. And took him to the vet. They took it out, and they also checked. They took a bit of skin out from the side, and they realised the cancer still was in the skin. They took more of that out, and they just kept testing for it. And fortunately, it's all.
Well, it's not fortunately, is it? It's down to got to have a big reason is because he's on the raw diet now as well.
I think that plays a massive part of it.
Huge, yeah.
Massive part of it.
And you also had a scare before, didn't you? After that you thought you got checked out. Fortunately, it wasn't. But again, this is my opinion. If the body's working correctly, it'll actually get rid of cancer cells because cancer appears in all our bodies. We're always getting cancer cells, but if the body's working correctly, the body should destroy the cancer cells. But high carbohydrates diets, just the same with humans. Causes inflammation, causes gut.
It's like the sugar. Sugar feeds cancer. If you're not feeding sugar, then it's not getting fed.
So all that. So this species-specific diet that we developed, Tony was a big part and the reason I wanted to do it, because I knew nothing about the meat market or the veg market. Tony's been doing that for about 400 years.
Yeah, about 30 years actually. I started in 1988 in the meat industry, mainly in poultry and seafood. It's my background, and so I source a lot of the ingredients that we use from manufacturers I've dealt with for tens of years, coming from all food grade manufacturing businesses. So the turkey comes from probably the same company that you get your turkey from at Christmas, and the duck is the same. The chicken, all BRC rated British food, Red Tractor approved, all good quality stuff.
And we talk a lot about ingredients and things that we'll never do without ingredients, just become a price war thing. What's one of the key components that we don't do? So for example, with chicken, I know we spoke about...
we can cheapen our recipes easily.
We decided not to do that.
We're not going to compromise. We're not going to compromise because it's not the right thing to do. Because we've got dogs and our dogs eat our food. So we're not going to compromise. We're not going to put in cheaper ingredients. It's easy to do. We can easily put in chicken carcass, for example, as a filler. The chicken carcass, we can get at 20 pence a kilo, not a problem. Bingo, lots of money to be made up doing things like that. But it's not doing the right thing, and that's something we will not do. So our food is transparent and it's honest, and it's as competitively priced as we can make it and we can buy it for. But we won't cheapen it by adding cheap ingredients into it and adding fillers.
And we'll make little changes as we're learning. Obviously, we've got Rowan on board and a nutritionist and Wendy, and they're helping us guide us down the path. And we're gonna create meals that's specific maybe to a certain element, cancer fighting kind of, which you can't say properly, but our goal is to create a whole plan around how you can help combat things like cancer, pancreatitis, diabetes, obesity, underweight dogs. There's a whole heap of stuff, itchy skin. So we want to create plans for each of these type of elements. So you go, okay, if my dog's got this, that, and what should I follow? What protocol should I follow? So that's really the plan here. And it's amazing. I mean, what people say now is, my dog gets fed better than me. And off the back of that, people are really thinking about their own diet as well, which is ultimately, which is brilliant. So can I ask if any info on how to feed a PMR raw diet to keep our acidity levels high? In humans, alkalizing diet is a veggie vegan, but dogs need meat. So Sam, that's quite a technical question.
It is. So you want, is your question you want to increase the acidity? Because if that's the case, then adding some apple cider vinegar into the diet is going to help that enormously.
I add apple cider vinegar to my dog's food every morning. They get apple cider vinegar, a cup each. Alfie gets a cup, Gus gets a cup.
When you say a cup, like is it just like...
No, it's just a little, the little cup that you use.
Right, okay, off the top.
Yeah.
All right, I was...
Yeah. But it's amazing. I sadly suffer from acid reflux.
That's working with me.
Yeah, it's working with you, the stress of that. And I have various things like charcoal tablets and stuff the doctor gives me and all that jazz. But if I'm not feeling great, I will go and take a glass of apple cider vinegar, which I have, it's a dog's glass, and I'll have that, mix it with water, and I'll drink it. And honestly, within 30 seconds, I feel better. It's incredible. So we're doing that with the dogs by giving them a little bit in the meals in the morning, and that just allows them to digest their bones that are in the food and balance their stomach, because apple cider vinegar is the same acidity level as the stomach juices.
And also, I think the tripe help them as well, isn't it? The tripe, because we have tripe in pretty much all our meals.
We have tripe in everything, yeah, practically.
Which a lot of brands don't.
The reason we do that is because tripe is superfood, and it's got to be green tripe. It's expensive, but it's important that we put it in there, because a lot of customers don't want to give the dogs tripe, and this way we make sure every customer gets tripe in their food. And the key thing here, I hear people saying, "Oh, I don't want tripe because it smells." And okay, it does smell a little bit, but the important thing is our food must not smell. If it smells, it's not right. First sense. If it smells, don't give it to your dog. If it smells, your dog won't eat it. But pure, clean, fresh meat doesn't smell.
You're going to have a little bit of a fishy smell, a little bit of a tripe smell. But it's not going to sort of
It's not offensive.
Yeah.
It's not offensive.
So tell me, what is in the tripe that is, you say it's a superfood, what is so beneficial within that tripe for the dogs? Is it the bacteria that's
It's
still...
the bacteria, yeah. Basically, it's all the, because it's green tripe, it's not washed tripe. It's just all that good gut enzymes and juices and bacteria that's coming with that, which is what's in it.
Fantastic.
To come on to Warren's question, hi, all your packs are packed according to your choice. Can you order individual portions to suit your dog's individual needs? The ultimate plan is yes, we are going to give much more flexibility. We're building I guess we've had about 18 months worth of understanding what our customers want using our existing platform. And the reason we started out saying eliminate proteins rather than add them in is when we were starting out, we just didn't have a guaranteed amount of products coming in because we were new. So we couldn't always promise certain things. And we also priced our boxes on
A template.
And in that template, you've got, it's interesting the way you did it. Was it a hot and cold meat? What was that thing you described it, where you've got white meat almost, and then you've got red meats?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it was you did, because it was quite a while ago. But the important thing is, we've set the box out to give as big a variety as possible. And that's what we want to be doing. We're going to be giving the dogs as big a variety as possible for two reasons. Well, reason one is they don't become, the reason why they get a balanced diet. So they get everything in their food across the period. Now that period might be, you might feed them chicken for 3 days a week, and then you might feed them turkey for the next 3 days, and so forth. But as long as over a period of a month to 2 months, they're getting a cross-section of different proteins, that's what's critical here. That's number one. And number two is we want to keep them interested in what they're eating. And therefore we want to be giving them a different variety to keep them going and thinking, yeah, I really like this, I want to keep eating it. And we've now got 9 proteins, nine different meals in the working dog range, not the puppy. We've already got, and now we just brought the game in. And I've always thought, do we bring pork in? And I've spoken to a company that does wild boar, and at the moment, I'm not sure. I don't know why, but in my head, I'm not sure I want to have pork in there just now. But it's something we may bring in the future. But if anyone's got any ideas of what other proteins we could bring in...
Well, we mentioned rabbit, didn't we? We haven't done rabbit.
We haven't done rabbit. We need to source rabbit from Spain or France. A lot of rabbit comes from China. We don't farm rabbit in the UK, so it needs to come from abroad.
Yeah, so we just have to accept that.
Yeah.
So the thing about having all these different proteins is if you feed one protein all the time, your dog will become sensitive to that protein.
Correct.
That's
absolutely. Thank you. That's absolutely it.
Yeah, and when you're saying feeding your dog for 3 days on chicken, 3 days on turkey, 3 days on something else, what I tend to do, I don't know if it's right.
I mix it. In the morning, I might have whatever I've taken, and in the evening with something else.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Perfect. They're just getting different stuff.
As long as you mix it. The point I'm making is you can mix it. You can feed them one protein for the whole week and then the next week something else, as long as you're mixing it.
Yeah. Yes, because some people say, oh, my dog's not quite so keen on one flavour. Or so we suggest, well, mix another flavour that it does love.
Yeah.
And then happy days. We've got everything in there.
Don't mix it. And so getting back to your answer, Warren, we are going to develop version 2 of our website, which we're working on right now, and it'll have much more flexibility in there. So watch this space.
Absolutely.
Okay, what's the difference between puppy and adult? Tony, you know this one.
Yeah, it's basically, puppy has more protein in it. So it's a higher protein. It's 90% meat, bone and offal, and 10% veg, whereas adult is 85% meat, bone and offal, and 15% veg. So we're giving the pups a higher protein content for growth.
And we've worked on the potassium and calcium ratio.
Oh yeah, the calcium ratio is all correct.
Okay, cool. Are you considering using only organic meats?
Well, that would be lovely. It would be lovely to do that. And Mark has been on at me for...
Don't blame me.
Everybody has. That's why Tony's shorter than everybody.
Everybody wants to use organic meat. And you know what? I'd love to use organic meat. But trying to get organic meat in any quantity and at a value that people can afford it's just not there. It's not possible to do. Now, if you want organic meat, There are other people out there that will do that, but it's very, very much niche. We want to be taking raw dog food to as many dogs as possible, not just the ones that can afford it.
So we may bring a line in later on, but the fact is the one manufacturer who was totally on organic has actually had to diversify away from that, and there's a reason. So in an ideal world, I mean, you just go into Tesco's and still the organic range is tiny.
Yeah,
even though when we all have the option of going and buying it. So I know, but eventually, but we can't, the size we are right now, we just can't do it and justify how much space, because every time we take on a new line, we've got to get new freezer space, packaging, there's a whole...
But we can't. The main problem is, and that's not going to be an issue, Mark. If we got organic coming in, and not an issue with storage, we'll find a way around that. The key thing is finding it in the first place. Finding it consistently. I have another business supplying human food, and it's difficult getting organic chicken for that business. So if I can't get it for human food, who are prepared to pay 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 pounds a kilo for it, finding it for dog food is almost nigh impossible.
Yeah. We just have to have our own farm, wouldn't we?
Okay. So, okay. Karen Walker, I've noticed Blue's toilet has been a lot firmer and drier. Is this normal?
It does happen.
Absolutely.
It does happen. It comes and goes. Because that happens with my dogs.
It depends on the protein that they've had the night
before. It can depend on the protein. It depends on the acid in the stomach.
But also with a raw natural diet, they're utilising everything. There's little waste. Whereas if you're on a kibble diet, it goes in one end, fills up with fluid, and comes out the other end cooked.
Yeah.
And it's not utilised, so therefore you get the bigger poops. And
it smells really bad going in, and it smells even 10 times worse.
Mind you, some dogs find it delicious when it comes out the other end. Anyway, we won't go into that.
Can I ask Karen Walker a question? When you do find Blue's Poos,
there's a song in there.
Firm and dry, etc. Is there a correlation between what maybe Blue had the night before to eat or had as a diet that day? I'd be interested to know that because my mom said to me that her dog, her poos, or his poos were firm, and I said, "It happens, Mum, because it happens with Alfie and Gus, etc. And it comes and goes. It just depends on certain times."
And I think sometimes they're a little bit drier and crumblier. Sometimes they find, depends on the protein going in, but also if your dog is constantly having dry crumblies, it may be worth adding apple cider vinegar in there to help the digestive process, and also some digestive enzymes. And I think
coconut oil and water has been mentioned as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That doesn't really help digestion, but it does help the movement through. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you able to do bigger boxes for people that have multiple dogs? Well, actually, that's why Tony is in the office with me today.
Sorry, I was reading someone else's question. What was the question?
Are you able to do bigger boxes? I'm not boring you.
Go bigger boxes.
Bigger boxes for people with multiple dogs. I'm assuming they mean the tubs.
Do you mean the tubs that go from a 500 gram and 1 kilo tub, etc.?
Is that what we're thinking?
Is that what? Or you
let's assume you are, and then you can correct.
Yeah, well, I can answer that anyway, because we can't really go bigger than a 20 kilo box delivered, because that's about as much as someone can realistically carry.
Granny Smith, you need to carry a 40 kilo.
Yeah, not like Granny Smith. I'm still carrying a 20 kilo box. So 20 kilos is the maximum will do, but you obviously multiples of that you can buy. But yeah. We are looking to bring in a 1 kilo tray instead of 500, as well as a 500 gram tray. So we'll have both in the portfolio of products that we sell.
But you can also buy multiples, like you say, we've got a 40, 60, 80, 120, 240 deal. So you can actually get big ones as well. But if you go into your portal, you can't do it on the front side of the website. But once you've logged in, got the first order, you can actually upgrade to bigger ones as well.
So would they come in, say, 20 kilos, 2 20 kilo boxes?
40, so a 40 would come in 2 20
boxes,
Just because you start to have so much food in a box, the weight of it as well is more likely to damage and stuff like that. That's why I've maxed out at 20, to be fair.
It's just, you've got to think of people carrying it as well. You've got to think of the guys in the factory carrying 20 kilo box, the guy delivering it.
But is that there's a health and safety amount of what you can carry anyway? So
there will be, Don't ask what it is, because I don't know, but there will be.
And we are talking about cat food as well, so there might be opportunities later that we can go the other way.
We'll make it smaller ones for cat
toy,
food. Yeah,
for toy dogs.
for toy dogs. Yeah, we could look at that for in the future. I'm cat food wise. I'm thinking of a 210 top.
Right.
210 because cats eat about 70 grams a day. That would last 3 days, something like that. 210 maximum.
So again, we'd love your feedback on that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be testing that probably in about.
Well, I'm pushing for that, having something in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and really I'm pushing to launch in 6 weeks' time.
So we'll be just doing some testings.
Yeah, because we're going to be adding some key superfoods to the cat food. One of those being raw egg yolk. We'll be going into that. And I've sourced that already, British raw egg yolk, so we've got that.
Oh,
And the extra heart.
And the extra heart's going to
taurine.
go in obviously for taurine, yeah. But belt and braces will probably add extra taurine as well as extra heart.
Fabulous.
So Sandra, I think that answers your question, which has come up.
Sandra's question
About
was...
200 gram meals. So yes, well, ideally what we're going to do, we're going to have a 200 or 250 small trays, 500, 1 kilos, and we'll get there.
So Sandra's question, will you be able to...
do 200 gram, as Monty would be on that now. So
200 grams at a time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've got to think about is how do we do that? And one of the things I'd love to do, because years ago I used to work for a business that manufactured chicken nuggets for one of the top retailers out there, restaurant chains, and I know how to make the nuggets, and we could do nuggets. The problem is with doing something like nuggets, it's the size of it, and actually sending that out in a box in a delivery van that's not frozen like ours is how do we keep it frozen? How does it get to you in the right frozen state that hasn't completely defrosted, gone mushy? So we just got to be careful with the sizing of what we do. So
because there's a whole heap of stuff. Because whatever we do, we have to invest in the equipment, and everything else. So we test it. So that's cool. So I think we've covered pretty much
have
everything.
we covered everyone's question?
I think so.
What was that one at the top? I didn't see that. Sam, was it Sam? Sam? Oh yeah, we covered that one. Yeah, we covered that one.
I'm not sure if you'd want stomach acid to go alkaline.
No, you want it to be acidic.
You want it to be acidic.
pH 2.
Basically,
pH 2 is something, yeah.
pH 2.
It really melts the bone, so that's really important. But I think we've covered everything there. So unless there's anything else you guys want to cover off, I think...
No, I think that's...
Jude McCoy said 210 would be perfect for cats. Thank you, Jude.
She's on it, isn't she?
She's on it like a car.
Good old Jude.
All right, so thanks again for joining us on your lunch. I hope you're enjoying your lunch and you got a species-specific human diet going in there today. But it's great to get Tony on, and maybe we'll get him on again in the future.
Yes.
A bit shy that
We
way.
locked the door. You can't get out.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right, bye.
Later.